So hi everybody, today we're here with Alison Choy Flannigan, author of Chinese Whispers in Search of Ivy. Welcome Alison, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
So what was the trigger point that made you want to write this book, and when did that happen?
This book has been the result of a long journey for me. Initially, my mother died when I was very young, in tragic circumstances when I was 7 years old. And this book is my search for my mother and my history, because when she died, the connection between her family and my family was broken. And I started wanting to know a bit about my family. My daughter had a school project at Pymble Ladies College in Sydney, Australia, and she was in Year 4 and was to compile a family tree. And so I started trying to work out a bit about my mother's family. And for 13 years, my brother-in-law and I, both are practicing lawyers, he's a senior barrister, have been researching my mother's family's history through the Australian National Archives and State Archives. And then when my niece's son, Beau, he was born about 5 years ago, he's about to start kindergarten. The day he was born, I thought, okay, well, it's a good idea for me to actually write all our research down in the book, and that's how it started.
Well, that sounds like a fascinating journey. Were there any surprises along the way in your research, any discoveries that were unexpected?
There were so many discoveries along the way, and we've learnt so much. I started off just with my mother's birth certificate, that's all I had. We didn't have any connections with any of the family members, and we've discovered so many things. I found my grandfather's brother. He made money in the Australian goldfields. So this is the first of 3 books, and it's about my mother's family from the Australian gold rush in the late 1900s. And he made a lot of money, and he went back to Hong Kong and built an education hall for the Lei Clan village, which is in Pat Heung in Hong Kong. And now that's a national monument. And in that village, which I went back to last year, there's the Chit Kwai Study Hall, which is the national monument. It's open to the public if you ever go to Hong Kong in the New Territories. And then I didn't know until we went back to Hong Kong that there was also the Lei Ancestral Hall. And the Chinese have ancestral tablets where they have the names of the male lineage. So every male in the line has a tablet. And my grandfather was the 24th generation. There were 9 brothers of the 24th generation, and I'm the 26th generation. And in those tablets, it goes all the way back to the 11th generation in the Ming Dynasty. So to be able to find the names of every male ancestor in that hall is very special. There's so many stories that I found out. My grandfather had a trading store in Cooktown, and he had 6 boats, pearling boats and fishing boats, and 2 land holdings with his own cattle brand. And being able to go through all the immigration documents, we've been able to trace where he went, where everyone was born, births, deaths and marriage certificates. Even the Cooktown Historical Society have been absolutely fantastic, especially Marjorie Scully, and she has been able to pull out the rail consignment records, so we know exactly on what date what goods were transported by my family's family to the local Cooktown community. So, you know, some of the entries have been absolutely fantastic, like, you know, a bag of pigs, a pot of opium. There's just been so much that we've found along the way, and most importantly for me is that I've been able to find some of my long-lost family relatives, which is what I was looking for from the very beginning.
Wow, that's incredible. And who are the audience for this book, and what do you want them to know?
I think this book is really for anyone who's interested in history and a little bit about the Chinese migration from China, whether it's to the US or to England or Australia, and how those Chinese sojourners contributed to the communities that they lived in. So my book's not just about family, it's about the communities that they lived in, and there's some stories about people that we've found. So, for example, my family being Chinese were persecuted a lot, and I found several cases, including judges' handwritten notes about the cases, and people who, from the Australian community, who gave testimony in favour of my family. In nearly all of those cases, my family were wrongfully prosecuted. But then I've been able to find the names of those people who gave testimony for my family and then find a bit about their history. So it's not just about my family, it's about the history of Cooktown from when James Cook landed the Endeavour, which was his discovery of Australia, and what's happened in that community as well. So anyone who's interested in history, and it's a little bit about, there's a lot of Chinese all across the world, and a bit about the history of how those people migrated, and also other people from other backgrounds, learning a bit about, there is hardship, but then if you work hard and if people have the compassion to help you, then we can all contribute to the community.
It sounds like a really positive message interweaving through the book as well. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we wish you a lot of success with the book.
Yes, thank you so much, and I'm very proud of Chinese Whispers in Search of Ivy, and I hope that the readers will enjoy it as well. Thank you.
I'm sure they will.